Satnam, Aman Devi here, offering a general reading, and as always, explore what resonates within. Had a lot coming through, so hopefully I can get through all of this in a seamless way and it serves you well. The idea of surrender really is coming through that 10 of Swords energy of relinquishing the hold of the thoughts and allowing it to transform something new. And 10 from the 1 to 10 being a sense of completion, that you've worked through the steps. And now moving through the court cards, having no attachment to the level, to possession, to outcome, or even fear of vulnerability, which I think all of this lesson kind of packages up to, if I had to sum it up very quickly, that on the other side of surrender is our fear of vulnerability. I also like to take a look at the 4. And the 4, normally if we're looking at numerology, the 4 is like stability. In this case, wanting to talk about this as a false sense of security, holding on to something, believing that we will achieve, believing if we don't hold to a particular concept, this particular material possession, that we will not proceed or be able to continue on our journey, because we create this false sense of comfort. We create this security blanket. So let's look at the 4, starting with the 4 of Pentacles. And so sometimes this is called the Miser card. And so what is beautiful about the Pentacles and why humans really just enjoy that energy is because we can touch it, we can see it. And because we can touch it and we can see it, we want to hold to it. We want to grasp to it. That is our sense of comfort, right? Security blanket here in what we think we know because we see it. And at the same time, because we can put our feet on the ground, because we can touch something, because we can hold something, it doesn't mean it's stable. Life is ever changing. And so what are you grasping to in the material, even if it is a concept of not thinking a manifestation is coming through because you can't see it or touch it or feel it, or not allowing a new manifestation in the physical, in the material, because you want to grasp to what was. And for me, I can just share this little tidbit. Like, I don't usually allow myself to go buy new clothes until I go through and get rid of some. Until I donate some clothes to a thrift store, I don't let myself usually go buy something new, so that things aren't piling up. So maybe that helps in some way. And overall, when we look at the 4, no matter what suit we're looking at, it's a process. It's a process of, if we were to use IFS language, unburdening or releasing what we need to allow some sort of progress. And if we look at 4, what's next? 5, that's our challenge point, right? But on the other side of 5 is 6. There's momentum, there's movement, there's choice, there's options. And so our little brains like to stick to that 4. And so looking at the 4 of Swords, the swords are our communication. They are our thought processes. And what are we allowing to come through? And what are we holding to? And when I see this card, I always think, what needs to be put to rest? What needs to be put to rest? And if we were to break down 3 and 4 and 1 is our clarity, our precision. Our 3 of Swords is our pain point. It's that point that hurts. And if we bring the 4 all together, it's an invitation to let something new in, to let some sort of concept, some sort of thought loop release. And if we were to pay attention to the way our brains work, the way we tell the same stories to ourselves or in conversation, we are in some ways reliving our pain by either covering it up from ourselves or continuing to share that same story because we haven't fully let it rest. Something else needs attention. And so, how in the material realm are the pains seeping through? And where is that point of contact within to find that clarity? And are you backing off that place that hurts because it hurts? But can we let the light in? If we look at this window, the light from the sun comes in and it sparkles. Have you ever been? I forget being in this church in Philadelphia, and it was so dark. I don't even think they had electricity. I don't know. I was younger, but it was like, I just don't remember lights on. I just remember it being dark until you stepped into the light, like where the light came through that stained glass. And next thing you know, the skin was vibrant, like the carpet was vibrant from the colors that came in, but you had to kind of step into it and let those colors shine. Step into it and let a new thought rise. Look under that thought, get it curious, be compassionate, be an observer. And that takes time to kind of sit back and dial back the patterns. And so, physical body, mental body. Let's look at the emotional body with the cups here. And if we were to continue this theme of holding on to something, the Three of Cups is that celebration point in the tarot, right? And when we get to the Four, sometimes I think in my deck, I kind of think of it as like sitting under the Bodhi tree and allowing that point of enlightenment, allowing that new energy to come in, right? But if we just in the flip side are holding to the thoughts of pain or wanting to hold to those thoughts or that emotional feeling of what was, and if we think about memory, I remember one of the monks telling us in one of our Dharma talks, he's like, memory is false. It's false. We hold in our emotional body our memories, right? That's why it's so hard to rewire the thought processes and our patterns, right? When there's an emotional component, a memory wires quicker in our brain. That's the way our bodies were programmed to protect us. And now, will you allow yourself to see something new? Will you allow a new emotional frequency to come in? Will you allow spirit to say, hey, have you felt this part of you? And so if you see this cloud with this hand, it's spirit coming in to offer a new feeling, a new sensation, a new level of awareness to come through. But if there's a fixation on, I'm going to go back to that Three of Cups, that dancing around the maypole, that happiness, and there's nothing wrong with that celebration, but is that creating a disillusionment? And what more does spirit have for you? What more does spirit have for you that your thought processes and your behavioral patterns are preventing from coming in? And so now we get to look at another aspect of the Four, commitment. Sometimes this is called the 1111 card or the twin flame card. I call it the commitment card. Energetically, what are you committing to? And what are you dialing in energetically to allow spirit to align to you? How are you blocking it in the physical? How are you blocking it in the mental? How are you blocking it in the emotional? And when you've processed a situation, whatever it might be for you, this learning, will you allow yourself to commit to something grand? Grander than you're able to see, think, or feel. And so being willing to surrender what you think you know and being open to receive something new, allowing something new to come through for you. And that can be a little frightening, yeah? There's a little vulnerability attached to that because we think if we hold, we can prevent. If we think we can predict, we can prevent. But maybe something new is on the board for you in this next transition of life. And what do you want to align to in the truest sense of that for you from your highest self? So let's take a look now at the Field Tarot. I also have a few other decks out. And what will you align to? What is being offered to you when you let go of any resistance that you're putting up in the process? And I mean, sincerely, it's the process of being human, yeah? Dreams. What are you dreaming of? Oh my goodness. Now, come on, now. You can't make that up. That's the bottom deck energy, so I'm gonna What are you dreaming of? And this cup of love, what will you drink from? Like, well, what are you pouring for yourself and allowing in? How are the stars aligning for you? And will you be willing to take that in as a princess, as someone sitting in that receptive energy and yet willing to learn? To me, the princess is still in the process of learning. And when we think, and this is not gender specific, but thinking prince to princess, yin to yang, allowing with passion. Allow the passion. And we're back to the Four of Wands, celebrating your truth and being able to step through on the next leg of your journey, passing the baton and continuing on. And notice that we don't know what's over the horizon. When you look at this image, you know, and I mean, you can laugh at yourself. I can laugh at myself, or, you know, concepts that we've held to or energies we've held to. But I mean, at one point we thought the world was flat, not round, right? So can you laugh at it? Raise your frequency and be willing to observe all these wonderful possibilities that are here for you. They want me to show you this next bottom deck energy, which is the Five of Wands. And how are you rising above? And so the competition not being with others, but really with yourself. And can you rise above what you put in your own way? And have this sense of dedication to your craft, to your knowing, to your belief, to your faith, to a partnership. I don't know why they're saying homework. Maybe some of you need to be more persistent and have a more persistent schedule for your homework. Like a homework. Okay, so to me, when I think of homework, when I get that first syllabus, oh my gosh, that first day, you're like, I have to get all this done. But really, you chip away at it and you set aside, I'm going to read this chapter. I'm going to read this many pages. And next thing you know, at the end of the week, you go through your notes. It's easy peasy to write that paper. And it continues to not pile up. It's like dirty laundry, but you've worked through it step by step to allow that sense of completion. And so no matter the grade, you know, each piece of that homework, each book you read, each page, each note you take is like part of a bigger sum of your success and fulfilling the dream and destiny you have here. Bottom deck. Okay, so when we're looking at the Four of Wands, we're looking... Are you going to commit to your pain of the past, or like whatever you commit to is going to come back to you. So if you plant seeds of love and kindness will come back to you. And sometimes you're a mirror to show others what love and kindness is, and you experience what it isn't to learn, right? But the sixth of diamonds is about reciprocity. It's the cycle of give and take. And will you give to your dreams in the material realm rather than commit to your pains? Allow your pains to break you free, like break free of that resistance in the mental body and start taking steps towards your dreams. Take steps towards your dreams. I'm going to go ahead and take this 3 off the board. Take steps towards your dreams. What do you want for yourself? And how beautiful it can be to see it through. What do you want to see through? Whether it's taking your vitamins, go on that first date, learn how to knit, learn how to sew, crochet. I think the homework ends up being like a piece of a puzzle to this bigger picture that you didn't realize you'd be able to complete, and you do. And you're capable of it. You're capable of that success. And will you... And it's beautiful in the traditional Waite deck, so that yellow one to the right, the arms are up. And whether someone is with or without sight, studies have shown that when they cross the finish line, they put their arms up. They put their arms up in celebration. So will you put your arms up? And that's part of like a power pose. Amy Cuddy's has a TED Talk on power pose of how that raises your testosterone and lowers your cortisol. So again, it's these simple steps that you take in the material that get you to where you want to go. Be open to learn, be open to grow, and celebrate those successes along the way, that it is step by step. I don't know why the fabric above is standing out. I don't know why they're saying diamond in the rough. Maybe that's where the pain is. You feel this sense of lack, that 5 of Pentacles energy. And will you learn a new way to celebrate who you are, to rise above what even society thinks you ought to be able to do? That pedagogy of the oppressed. I can't remember who wrote that book. It's been a minute since I've read that. The pains are only perceptions to teach us how to proceed. And it doesn't feel like that, which is why we have all these lovely attachments, right? It's why we don't want to let a thought rest or even look under that thought, because if this hurts right now where I am, why would I put my sword down and not fight? Like that resistance in some way. There is cause for celebration when you decide to let the light in and see a new way, think a new way, perceive, when you find that clarity. It's only a struggle and a pain if you allow it to be, because Spirit is always here saying, here, drink from this cup. Drink from this cup. I've got more for you here. I've got more for you here. Will you accept it? Will you receive it? Whether that is in the dream world, healing the pains of the past, so allowing the nighttime vision to bring something forward for you, to even help you see the steps, a new perspective. And drink from this cup of in alignment with where you want to grow, rather than what you thought you ought to be. or could be. There is no movement with the Four of Pentacles here. When you believe, like it's totally standing and holding ground, but really that's a really kind of squashed place. Really heavy burdens to bear. Almost like that Ten of Wands energy. And so this card really asks for non-attachment of the ego, perception, I think this is breaking free of the illusion in the material as the next leg on our journey as a species, as human beings, that we are only on the beginning stages to manifest so quickly and clearly when you can release the attachments, when you can do the heart work to release the emotional body to let something in, when you can stop blocking through the thought processes of the mind and learn the freedom that pain provides. It asks for change. And when you're willing to make that change, will you be open to a new way? Let's see what we got. So the whole deck kind of flipped out. So you have the bottom deck. Let's see what we got. Healing. Chiron. And this sense of blossoming. And orchids have, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and do your own research. Let this be a step forward. But I think there's something with the DNA structure that's interesting with humans, but it's also a very attractive plant that requires special attention. An orchid requires special care, and so do you. So does your healing. So does your inner child. And so those fragments, and I believe, I could be wrong, Chiron is an asteroid. I could be wrong on that. But like, what needs to come together to bring something into fruition is your care and compassion. And perhaps learning how to compassionately care for you to allow yourself to blossom with this new light. 33, manifestation. Let's look at the bottom of the deck of this. Shakti. So I was thinking of the Adi Shakti Mantra. But you also have the serpent. So, you know, Kundalini energy rising from the roots and moving the energy up 5 solar plexus, your free will. The Adi Shakti Mantra is about, to me, the home base, like the root, the Mother Earth. And so when you can establish your foundation, you can allow your energy to rise to then transcend. And if you see here, there's this portal of awakening that's inviting you to step through on your journey, to shed your skin and trust that you're held here on this planet while you work with energies grander than what we often think of, speak to. And so moving through this disillusionment to transcend on the next leg of your journey. Intention is the next bottom deck. Let's keep healing out. And what else? This is what flipped over. Abundance. Well, there you go. And abundance can come in different forms, right? It's this sense, this mindset that everything is here for you. Beyond that lackluster mentality, beyond that sense, there's this sense of freedom when you're like, I have everything I need. Spirit will provide everything for me. Everything you need to make your dreams a reality is here as you choose to heal and see the possibilities for you. This cluster of abundance and letting it unravel, right? 17, 8, Is this A, that infinite? So manifesting infinite abundance. And that calls for celebration and trusting with this 6 of diamonds that Spirit's got your back. You know, like, comes from a deck, right? There's a title, that's the title of a deck, but it's this concept that you're not left out in the cold when you choose to drink from, like, go ahead and drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, I shouldn't say that out loud in case your Kool-Aid has something in it shouldn't, but it's more that concept of drinking in the belief that there's cause for celebration here on earth within you and who you are, the magnificence you are. Any other messages? Okay. Answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? And we step up into that. Bottom deck. Beautiful. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? And some of it's just fitting in with your own comfort zone, much less what society has cast down. Yeah? And so what's calling deeper for you? Next, bottom deck energy feels important to share. Akasha. Your guidance. Like you're being divinely guided to move. So maybe it's already written in the stars for you. It's just you connecting those dots, reaching through and making it happen. Especially with this solar plexus card, it's your choice. What you let go of, what layers you shed, what chakras you rise through, what frequency you align with, and what you choose. 5, to be a point of challenge or overcoming. And Shakti is here to say, like, there's a firm foundation for you, an energy that supports your calling, your nurturing, your growth and healing. I'm just hearing, I always knew you could do it. I don't know where that's coming from. I always knew you could do it. And maybe you're the one that needs to remind yourself of that everything else is aligning for you to make this magic a reality. And now it's your turn to realize that for yourself, all parts of you. Keep growing, sending lots of light and love your way. Thanks for listening. Satnam.